Hi, and welcome to part 2 of the Conveyor Quick Tour series. In this video, I'll give you a tour of the global admin settings within the account. We access these by clicking in the menu in the top left of the screen, these three bars here. Let's start at the bottom, where you'll see your recycle bin and your archive. The difference being that connections you have put into the bin will be fully deleted after 7 days. Before 7 days, you can restore connections, but only if you have capacity in your license. If you don't want to use the recycle bin, you can archive connections. Archived connections will not count against your license and they won't be deleted. And again, you can only restore them if you have capacity available to do so. Users do not have access to the archive or recycle bin. This is an admin function only. Track and trace is a very useful feature that helps you query the system to understand what happened to a particular target system record. Did Conveyor change something in that data, and when did it happen? You can come into Track and Trace, put in the record ID and hit search, and Conveyor will return that information for you. You can manage your credentials that you have for your different targets and source systems in this area. You can do this within the connections themselves, but as an admin, you can also manage them collectively in this area. You don't have to edit it in each of the connections. You can just come in here and do this globally in the admin area. In the activation control area, you can create activation blockers. This is where you can set a schedule that blocks the activation of connectors that you specify. You can do this in many different ways, either by specifying a particular day, a relative day, the last day of the month for particular months, and even the duration of that block. You can then decide which connections this applies to. So for example, if you want to set up a connection block going to a particular system, then you may decide you want to add all of the connectors that push data into that system, and you may want to include them all in that activation block. Having good naming conventions for your connections really helps with this. In the folder management area, you can manage existing folders by clicking into the folder and deciding who has access to them. You can also create new folders, and you can determine which connections go in that folder and who has access to it. When you manage users, you can edit and create along with choosing SSO for authentication. To use SSO, you will first need to set this up under account settings, which is why you don't see it in this screen view here. If a user forgets a password, simply ask them to hit the Forget Password option on the login screen after adding their username. Under account settings, you can see your license usage, you can set password policies, and you can toggle some global settings. Controlling a connection using email means you can trigger a connection or activity on a connection by sending an email to Conveyor. Or you can run a connection via email, that is, you can send in data to Conveyor via email as the source. You can also choose whether you want log information to be sent out externally from Conveyor attached to your notification emails. And you can set here whether you want to enable sending data to email as a target system for a connection. Here is where you set up your SSO. Once you've done this, you'll be able to apply this to your users. And that's it for a tour of the admin settings for Conveyor. Thank you.